Hello, my dear folks. Welcome to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Part-4丨，the internationally renowned brand name for men's suits. And I have a jacket of it, and I feel proud of it because it fits me perfectly, exactly perfectly. And it is not only a brand name, it has lots of practicality in it. For example, the material is water resistant and it's stretchable. You don't see an elbow popping up like that. Yes, still. Okay, Paul, anyway, we thank you for sponsoring. Let's get back to the show. When I say get back to the show, because we have done 3 episodes already on the same subject, the subject being that the 100-day plan for our President-elect Donald Trump. So we were halfway. With me, my good friend Ken Hamming, and somebody that I rely upon so much. Every time when I want to get serious, I get to him. So pick up the phone and say, Ken, I want to get serious with you. And he knows it almost immediately what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Now the country, which has been led for 8 years on a route of no return, running almost naked towards the far end. I, a supporter in the very beginning, came to slow down, then stop, then find myself in the middle of the road thinking, then find myself realize that we need some other directions. And sure enough, I'm not a supporter of Donald Trump, to be honest. I'm not a supporter either to Hillary Clinton. The fact is that Donald Trump is taken, Donald Trump is elected. Let's assume he is the president, and he is, unconditionally, he is the president. Let's see what he has in his bucket.
That's right.
That's very good.
With an open mind and an open heart.
Yeah. So with my friend Ken Hamming, we're looking into his bucket to find out what's in there. And luckily enough, we do see his 100-day plan in the bucket, and we just sort it out one by one.
That's right.
See what's in there. Today we came to his number 3, between number 3 and number 4 on his foreign currencies and foreign trade control.
Yes, sir.
So last time we were at the point when he said that I will direct my Secretary of Treasury to label China as currency manipulator, which I disagree a lot. And I know that you have your explanations, and I say that my point was not to argue with you. I just say that I disagree.
Well, my overall point is I don't know what it means to be declared a currency manipulator. They do change their currency when they want to, and that is a manipulation activity, but I don't know, there's no punishment for declaring them a manipulator that I know of, okay? And so I don't know what impact that has. I think it's nice words, and I think it's a recognition China and also Japan modifies their currency exchange rates when they feel it's beneficial to them.
My question is that in this nowadays world, which country doesn't do that?
Well, many countries don't.
Which country doesn't manipulate their own currencies?
Well, if we identify a currency manipulation as a unilateral or a decision by a country to change the exchange rates with other currencies.
The other question is that does the United States do it?
No, we don't.
Of course we do.
Okay.
Of course we do.
All right.
Since day
you're
one,
entitled
when
to
we got
belief.
rid of the gold centered, and we make ourselves the U.S. dollar centered, and the day one, starting when U.S. dollar being the center, though, we are a manipulator of our own currency, which I feel all right. I don't go against that.
Okay,
so anybody can go.
Yeah.
Can do
now,
that.
Where I could agree with you is that I think our country under Obama has been printing too much money to try to give food stamps to people and training programs and all these things.
That's another issue for another day, but
that could be a form.
I do agree.
Yeah, we're printing too much money.
I do agree. Yes.
Yeah.
We see lots of grain being printed.
Too much.
And we're not seeing
Right.
the matching economy
But we
to
do
go
not
with the rate of the of the increase of the printing.
But we do not announce to the world that we have changed the exchange rate. We have a free-flowing exchange rate, but when China or Japan
How about
does
this?
that, yeah.
How about this? Forget all the differences. Let's come to a conclusion that it is time we did something.
It is time we did something.
Right?
Yes.
It is probably high time. Probably high time we did something in this whole area.
In the whole area of trade.
Regarding currency. Now let's move to trade. Right?
Yeah.
In trade, Donald Trump, President-elect, says this. Check. I will direct the Secretary of Commerce and a U.S. trade representative to identify all foreign trade abuses that unfairly impact American workers and to direct them to use every tool under American international law to end those abuses immediately.
Right. Now, my comment on this is, number one, you or I do not know precisely how to define the word abuses.
Exactly.
Okay.
See what I wrote here? I said the definition is missing.
Hey, that's why we're friends.
So that's why
we think alike. But
we have the same set of
I don't
brain,
read
right?
upside down.
Okay,
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
But so that's important. And then also the good part of this comment is, because Trump just wants better deals for America. He's an America First guy. I'm an America First guy. And but he says when it can be identified in terms of legal actions that can rectify some of the abuses, which I'm not sure what the definition is. But if it weakens the position of American workers as opposed to foreign workers, then that in an inappropriate way where they're violating terms of agreements.
One thing for sure, that the term foreign trade abuses is first heard of. So in talking about foreign trade, we talk about trade deficit, right? We trade about namely we're talking about balance.
Yes,
right?
yes,
and
balance
then,
of trade.
And then we talk about tariff, right? In order to stop the wrongdoing, and anti-dumping tariff or stuff like that, to deal with the most extreme cases. Yeah. And for abuses, that's a legal term or that's a political term or something rather than a trade term. Do you agree with me? I know you're a man of words.
I would say
you're
that
a man of words. You might have better pick.
Yeah, abuse is not a trade term. It's a term of violation of existing agreements.
You're right.
And then tariffs, nobody likes the tariff. You probably know more than I do about the tariff that China puts on cars that are high-end cars that go to China. There's, it costs a lot of money to get into the country. Ours are being now made in other countries and coming in here tariff-free, So there's reasons to try to balance the power of the transactions.
Starting ever since day one in history, there has always been the tariff war, which is a fact, which is an undeniable fact. Anyway, trade protectionism, call it that way, is always the core issue for a nation to be strong in the area of foreign trade, to take upper hand of foreign trade.
But why haven't we used tariffs to our advantage?
Exactly.
We haven't, and maybe it's time. I don't know.
And the unfortunate part is that your opponents, your partner, right, does the same thing, and by that very country has exactly the same right, same legality to do the same thing you want to do.
See, free trade would allow that there's no tariffs, and if you can make it better and cheaper in China and it comes in here and we buy it, that's fine. If we can, it's very hard to get some of our products into China, and so if we have more freedom of exchange, that would solve a lot of problems.
That's why we say last time, that's why we say last time when we were talking about NAFTA, when we were talking about TPP, TPP, we promote, you and I both got agreement on this one, that instead of building up a tariff wall for protection called protectionism, we'd rather promote free trade.
Yes, as long as it's free and equal and balanced.
Yes, of course. Free trade is based upon a balance based upon fairness. Otherwise, there's
competition.
There couldn't be a free trade.
Right.
For example, I have shoes to export. You sell me your socks.
Right.
Right.
That's barter.
And then they're partnered.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that. Right. I sell you my fish. You sell me my fish meal or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And then we free trade ourselves to balance, to see that we still get along without having to build up a huge wall to divide ourselves, called protectionism.
Yeah,
am I right?
There's very few countries that really have a like government to what the foundation of America is, which is our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, and the freedom, where the power is supposed to be with the people, you and I, citizens of America. We're supposed to have the power. In many countries, including this one, the last 8 years, the government has had more power over our lives.
Those are by logic. We're now talking about a practicality, talking about how exactly we want to do it, one by one, issue by issue, page by page.
And that's what sort of his plan is about.
Okay, now, for that discussion, our conclusion, shall we please say that you and I both understand where he comes from.
Right.
Yet, there are definitions missing.
Yeah, right. Where there's it's only two strokes on a big painting.
And someday somehow there are going to be definitions say what is abuse.
Right.
Right. To what extent is considered abusive.
Yes, sir.
Something like that. Okay. My dear audience, today with my good friend Ken Hamming, we're having another good time in going deeper, analyzing the 100-day plan for our President-elect Donald Trump. I really believe that he, or someday somehow with his teamwork, those plans will be detailized. Right?
Yes.
Will be filled in with the missing parts. And generally, I find myself more confident rather than not seeing a plan.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So let's take a very short moment out. We'll be right back. Hello, dear folks. Welcome back to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Bottanley, an internationally renowned brand name for men's suit that represents culture, tradition, technology, and lifestyle, everything. All right? So, Paul, thank you for sponsoring. Back to the show. Today's show, we're talking about the 100-day plan of President-elect Donald Trump. I said in the very beginning, I was not and I am not a supporter of Donald Trump. Yet, when he is the President of the United States, I have to be his supporter.
Yes, sir.
That's our tradition. By that to the country, to the freedom that I swore in, I will go follow the instructions of the commander. That's it.
Yes.
Now we're talking about the commander's bucket. Was in there.
Yeah.
Sure enough, we found his 100-day plan. Some might work, some might not. Some might need some details. Right?
Yes.
Something might be missing, of course. But I find it very positive to have it rather than not to have it. Right. With me, my good friend Ken Hamming, a wonderful writer. He's a philosopher himself. I rely heavily upon him, so heavy that every time when I have a crying baby, I call upon him and say, Ken, there's a crying baby.
Yeah.
Today, the baby is not crying, but is giggling, wiggling.
Yes.
So we want to see what happens with his plan, next step. Okay.
Let me share one thing. To demonstrate the joy of my hope for improved futures for children of the world in America, I have my tie on, which is all kids from all over the world, because I was concerned about hope for their future. And so this is dedicated to the children of the world in America with hopefully a stronger economy and a better future.
Every time you have
I have a reason.
Tie designated to the theme.
Yes, I do.
Of the show.
I do.
All right, thank you. Now, in his next part of his plan, he says, I will lift the restrictions on the production of $50 trillion worth of job producing American energy reserves, including shale, oil, natural gas, and clean coal.
Yes.
So your comment on that, please?
Well, number one, it's hard to comprehend how much $50 trillion is, but it's a lot. Okay,
it is a lot.
It's a
yes.
lot,
Mm-hmm.
and so you know, under Obama and like Hillary Clinton wanted to put all the coal miners out of work and put a lot of them out of work. As a matter of fact, you know, there is clean coal and all of these other. America has an opportunity now, if Congress and everybody goes along with it, to be truly independent in the energy field and to be able to serve ourselves and export rather than bringing in from the Middle East so much oil or for Russia or something. So we have a great opportunity that will create so many jobs. And there was we talked about it before, they just found 20 billion barrels of oil in Texas, which is unbelievable. Yeah. So if we, you know, I know directional drilling and coal and how they can be used. That doesn't mean we ignore windmills or other or solar, but all of them together can create such a beautiful energy power on our part.
In other words, he's talking about the whole energy industry together will create $50 trillion worth of job opportunities.
And that would be over a fairly long period of time, because 50 trillion a lot of money.
That is a lot of money, of course.
So it'd be a long time, but it will start. It will start right away.
In other words, the reading of on his side to the whole energy area of energy will be worth of $50 trillion of job opportunities.
Way beyond his term of office too, whether it's 1 or 2 terms. Yes, it would be a new philosophy that if we came back in with Democratic power in the future, it'll be reversed, but by that time we'll be independent.
Do you think, by the way, I'm kind of a curious guy, curiosity in this case might not kill the cat. I want to go a little deeper.
Yes.
Is he talking more kind of into general rather than concrete deals? So I believe if you make a statement like this, though, almost everybody can say that. I will support anything that could create $60 trillion worth of a job, including A and B and C and D, so on and so forth, for an extensive period of time, which is always correct.
But none of the progressive liberals would support this. So now they're, at this point in time, fairly irrelevant.
Clean energy, they say that.
They have,
Clean coal, they say that.
They hate coal. They hate coal.
They say
they don't believe there's clean coal.
White coals.
Yeah, they don't believe there's clean coal. And I saw one of the guys that's the chairman of one of the largest coal companies, and he's like 80 years old, and he was like a kid last night on TV with excitement about the future for coal again, rather than its death, a reborn.
My whole point is to find a plan out of slogans.
Yes, sir.
So my job at this very moment is to define, using the top of my knowledge, that trying as much as I can to tell or to analyze if it is a slogan or if it is something that sounds like a plan.
Well, he directly mentions the North Dakota pipeline.
This one to me, yes, later.
Right.
Until later.
Okay, sorry.
This one to me is a slogan, sounds a slogan, nothing but a slogan.
Well, the details will follow, and it's an attitude. If the country has an attitude that we want energy independence and we want to use the energy we have available in our lands, in our lands, it can happen.
In principle, he is right. In principle, he is 100% right.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about, as exactly the title of the show says, let's get serious.
This is very serious.
When you want to get serious, you're not getting serious because there's a slogan. You want to get serious because there's a plan of day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, because what he has here is his 100-day plan.
but he's not even president yet. So he is showing to the community
I know.
What he plans to do, and I believe he will come through.
From the time he takes office, which is January 20th,
Yeah.
right, to April 20th, that's 90 days,
Right.
to May 1st,
Yeah.
put it that way. That's his 100 day,
Right.
right? When he says 100-day plan, when this included in that 100 day, I would say it's a mistake.
It's impossible to accomplish everything.
Of course.
But it is not impossible to start the process on everything in here. And that's what's going to happen.
It's not even a plan, there's a slogan.
We don't know well, okay, I disagree. I think there's a plan behind it. He's got brilliant people in his administration. I think he's making great selections. And now, like for example, the left media, which I consider irrelevant to America now because nobody believes him anymore, are saying, I'm so upset because his cabinet's full of rich people.
Okay, anyway.
Well, John F. Kennedy had richer people in his cabinet. No, but seriously.
I love you, Ken.
I love America.
I love you, Ken.
I love our country.
Now, okay, if the details are, devils are in the details, right? Let's see what details we have here. And he says that his plan number 6.
Yes, sir.
Plan number 5, my definition is a slogan.
Okay,
right?
that's
so
fine.
You may disagree.
Yeah, I think
number
it's
6,
a road
let's
path.
see. Lift the Obama-Clinton roadblocks and allow vital energy infrastructure projects like the Keystone Pipeline to move forward.
Yeah.
Now he mentioned something concrete. The Keystone Pipeline.
Which this is a sub part of number 5. Okay, it's a sub part.
Okay.
But
All right.
yes, because the last 8 years has really been blockages of energy independence, growth, and opportunity. Because Obama, and his people think global warming is more dangerous to our life than ISIS, radical Islam.
Even before Obama time,
Yeah.
during Bush time,
Right.
the Keystone Pipeline was still a controversial issue.
Well, we didn't have
We went back and forth several times.
Well, then of course in Bush time too, when he got nailed with 9/11, that Bill Clinton could have avoided if he'd have taken out Osama bin Laden. But no, but it's true. So there was so much war stuff.
No politics of that nature. That could be a subject for another day.
Okay, I'll be
right?
back.
I really hate
Yeah.
to say Clinton could have prevented. If Clinton could have prevented, the older Bush, 41, could have prevented long ago.
And maybe FDR could have too.
All right, good.
But
so
whatever.
stop talking about that.
Well,
Let's focus on this, please.
I'm focused.
I like you. I like you. I love you a lot. Okay, go
Me
ahead.
too. I love your viewers the same.
Thank you. The Keystone Pipeline.
Right.
No. Now, what does he want to do?
Well, here's the big issue with the Keystone Pipeline. Right now, the Sioux Nation, the Indian Nation in America, they're having massive protests and also some illegal activities verging on violence, which would probably eventually happen.
Yeah.
Saying that some of their lands are honored traditional lands of the past. I respect all of that. I think what's going to happen, the pipeline is going to happen, and that the negotiator, Mr. Trump, we hope will try to figure out a way to assuage
They go against pollution. They go against the water contamination, stuff like that.
It's not pollution. These pipelines, they are not pollution. If they're, unless they're leaking, if you go against the overall consideration of pollution, then we can't do anything except live in a teepee, and that's not what we're going to do. So there's great, all of the safety things and all the science, which is advancing in keeping pollution more to a minimum, like in coal, okay, is doable. But the real challenge, I think Congress, will approve this. Canada, of course, wants it, partially for them and then partially for us. But it's going to deal with the Sioux Nation in trying to avoid violence and despair. And we're all sensitive to that.
Honestly, I myself support this pipeline. Because
it'll be big
when we do have the resources of handling our own crisis, which will make us less dependent to Middle East oil, which of course is the core of all the problematic today.
That's right.
The world.
That's right.
Now, with my good friend Ken Hamming today, I'm having lots of fun. I believe my audience are having fun too. So let's take a very, very short moment now. When we come back, we'll keep digging from his bucket and to find out if there's anything that's worth to be anticipated. So stay with us, please. Hello, dear folks. Welcome back, you ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the East-West Show. We try to bring everything positive to the show that will be your reference for your uplift life. The show is called From East to West. It's exactly the purpose that's defined here. We want to bring all the knowledge necessarily needed for the rebuild of America. Okay,
yes.
Now, this show, sponsored exclusively by Paul Bettany, is making a lot of popularity. Lots of my audience wrote saying that they like the show and they recommended we do shows like this. We take one subject, go in depth. Now we do. So thank you, Paul Bettany, for sponsoring. Back to the show. Now, with my friend Ken Hamming, a wonderful writer, philosopher, and brother kind of friend, I rely upon him a lot. And he's a CPA himself, but to me, in my eye, he's more a philosopher than CPA.
I agree.
And he's got a mind that like a 3-year-old who believes everything. And who smiles over even at one apple.
Joy of life.
Joy of life, right?
Joy of life.
Now, and in terms of criticism, he's never slow. He's never slow. He jumps on it right away. Yeah. Okay, now, we're talking about the 100-day plan for our President-elect Donald Trump. We were at his Keystone pipelines. Let's move on, shall we?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. He said, I will cancel billions in payments to United Nations climate change programs, and use the money to fix America's water and environmental infrastructures.
Well, I do think there's one thing inaccurate about his statement. I don't think, and it's not my thoughts, what I've heard from many sources, that we're really not paying billions through the United Nations for this. It's a much smaller amount, but it's an amount. And myself, I am not a fan of the United Nations. I love the concept of it in 1948 with Harry Truman, etc. I love the concept of the United Nations, but it does not work very well for many, many reasons. So this, I think it's an overstatement of what he wants to do, but I'm totally supportive of reducing some of the guidance thrust upon America by the United Nations that we have to conform to. So, and I don't even really like him being in New York City anymore, to be honest. We pay 60% of the
Once again, that's probably too general.
Yeah. So I think this is too magnanimous.
General, too large a range.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
That's talking about XYZ of dollars paid to the UN for his climate change issues program, or so on and so forth.
For theirs,
Yeah, and he, Donald Trump, calls off. He says, I will stop that payment, and I'll use the same amount of money, if not more, for our own water and environmental infrastructures.
I think in reality, this is not something that can come about exactly as he describes it. I think we will still contribute money to that purpose through the United Nations, and we'll divert some more money to our own clarity, clearness of water and health and that. But this statement, I think, is too big to be reasonably possible. So,
but he exactly used the word cancel.
Right.
Not revise. Not to shrink.
Right.
not to reduce, not to cut down.
Be very hard to totally cancel the program, I think.
Yeah, he wanted to cancel it.
Right. Well, that's yeah, and it'd be very hard to withdraw from the United Nations too.
So
I don't think it will be just totally canceled.
You're right. You're right.
In my opinion,
it is exactly my concern.
Yeah.
The thought itself might come from a very healthy angle.
Yes, sir.
Or perspective.
Right.
Right. Because we're paying too much.
Yeah, we are.
We're paying too much to worry about something which we are not supposed to worry.
Yes.
Right.
You're right.
As to cancel it,
yeah.
If the exact wording says here to cancel it,
I don't think
it's really an exaggeration. Did you think so?
I think so.
Okay.
So, and this is also not one of his major campaign issues. It's not a major one. You know, all the other things are more major immigration.
Or, by the way, you put those over exaggerations all together, you could probably touch a little base about his character.
I love his character.
Once again, we're talking about Donald Trump, not Jack Chow.
Well,
right?
if we compared Mr. Trump's character to Hillary, I'm glad we're here and I support him.
No, compare him to me.
I think you guys are of equal beauty and character and love for America.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, come on.
Absolutely.
You don't have to scratch my back.
Yeah.
All right, good. Now, on this one, our conclusion is that the issue was right.
Yeah, the issue is good.
The issue is good. Over exaggeration.
Right.
Exaggerated.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, now.
I agree.
Okay, he says, on the first day, I will take the following 5 actions to restore security and the constitutional rule of laws.
I love the rule of law.
Yeah, that's very important. Constitutional rule of laws. And then let's move on to see what exactly does he refer about the 5.
Yes, sir.
Right? And he says, number 1, cancel. Once again, pay attention to the word cancel.
Right.
Cancel every unconstitutional executive action.
Now, here's where the problem will come with that.
Let me finish.
Pardon me.
Memorandum
Yeah.
and order issued by President Obama.
Yes, sir.
He's going to overturn everything Obama says in the term of executive order.
But here's where the play is in this. The word unconstitutional. So it's going to be an issue. Some of Obama's executive orders, I presume, were constitutional, and some of them were clearly defiance of our Constitution. And our Congress had no courage to fight back. No courage. Now I think there'll be courage, and so they'll have to identify what's constitutional and what isn't. And cancel, it doesn't mean cancel; it just means reverse. So
you
they
mentioned
just
Congress.
erase it.
You mentioned Congress.
Yes.
You just so happened to mention Congress.
Yes, sir.
During his 8 years, the Republicans had the House of Representatives, had the House of Senate.
Not during all 8 years. No.
No. That second term, I mean.
The second term after.
The second term, all right?
After the 2014 election.
After 2014, when Democratic lost both houses, right? And the Republicans did have both the House of Representatives, House of Senate, right? So
and they failed to
say that Congress dare not do anything is not correct.
They didn't do anything.
Congress was in the hands.
It was in session.
Of Republicans.
Well, what all the people that got elected, the Republicans that got elected in 2014 on promises, very much like this whole plan, okay, on promises to make changes, they failed to perform all of their promises, and they turned into just little people that I want to get reelected.
Okay.
They failed.
Put that aside a little bit. Let's talk about the executive orders.
Right.
During the period of the 8 years, how many executive orders President Obama had issued?
I do not know the number, but I do know that
just a major one.
Well, it was. They're all major, like amnesty. I mean, he's
DACA is one. The your term amnesty.
Yep.
Right. Obamacare is one.
Right, which was all based on lies, true lies.
What else?
If you like your doctor, you can keep them. Oh, well, we could. If you like me to research it, I'll bring a list of Obama's executive orders in the last 2 years.
Let's talk about these
I can do that.
Let's talk about these two.
Yeah.
Right. So when you want to overturn DACA, you know DACA. Well, my audience know DACA, right? It is a pause of deportation.
Right.
For those who came here not on their own will, but by their own parents, because they were too little to make decisions on their own. Or some even were born after their illegal parents came here, settled here.
Right.
So they were born Americans, yet without a parents who has document, something like that. To slow down or to hold or to pause the deportation of those. That is DACA. Right? So I don't see anything wrong with that. Do you?
I see something very wrong with people entering our country illegally. And that must be dealt with. And I don't think they should have a path to citizenship unless they figure out how to, But the main thing on this is going to be, we're not going to deport 11 million people. We will deport 2 or 3 million people.
Yeah, that's later on.
Right,
he says.
we will.
Let's talk about
that will
overturn of the executive order. Though.
Yeah. I think it will be overturned or reversed, I should say, and then there will be a new formation of a policy regarding immigration. And so it'll be a new creation, a new policy.
In terms of immigration reform, quote unquote, you are always, and we must be aware of the fact that all the time we are talking about two different issues. Number one,
they are.
Okay, now
very
if
different.
I could draw a chart
to
describe, and there is a divider line, okay, to the right hand of the line, you're talking about prevention of future happening.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Right?
Right.
Okay, now, to the left hand of the line, you're talking about how are you going to deal with the existings who are human.
Right.
For example,
they're all human.
For example, a boy or girl born in the United States by their own parents who are not legalized, and by Constitution, those kids deserve a parents.
Well, let me go one step that you're going to dislike terribly. America is one of the very, very few, like less than 5 countries, that if you have a baby, when you're in that country, it's a citizen of America. I think that should be reversed, because people jump across, people fly in here, drop a baby, and then they've got a citizen.
And then
that's foolish on our part.
That's a third issue. And that we sometimes can sit down.
It's a big issue.
Talk about a whole show. Right. So I'm talking about to prevent the future, and to deal with the existing.
Yeah. See, for example, what's happening now?
Do you tell me they are problem by one nature?
Well, like, say people come in illegally to America, okay, a husband and wife. They sneak across the border. Then they drop a kid, and then having that kid as a citizen is they're doing that as a way of getting a pardon for activities related to their illegal entrance. So if you have a kid, I don't think it should pardon the parents for the illegal action they did. I follow the law. You try to sneak into Cuba, sneak into Russia, sneak into China, sneak into these other countries, you're punished. This place doesn't do that. Now, one of the greatest interesting things that's going to happen when Trump gets in is the interfacing between the Trump administration and the sanctuary cities, which say, we don't care how you got here, we don't care if you're a felon.
Later he does talk about that.
And there's going to be
I just want you to do a definition by joining the same line.
Yeah, I like it.
Do you agree with me? They are problems of a different nature.
Yes, they're a different nature.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for saying that.
You're the man.
Of course, not because I'm a man, because I'm talking.
And it makes sense.
I'm the man that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense.
Sense being that they're
different.
They are here already.
Right.
You're going to treat them like we we are supposed to treat everybody supposed to treat under the same constitution. That's another cup of tea for another day. Right now, let's move forward about this F thing.
Yeah,
right?
in the birth rate, when somebody has a kid here, becoming a citizen is not a result of the Constitution. That happened way after.
No. Of course not.
But
Of course
anyway,
not.
okay.
Of course. If we go back that far, though, we have to cancel the show to talk from that end.
That's
very
true.
End. Okay, now, and he says here, now, begin the process of selecting. No, that's not immigration related.
Sorry.
So, okay, now anyway, let's follow his order.
Yeah.
His order says, now.
Justice Scalia.
Okay, now, no. Let's move to number 3 because number 3 is more related to this.
It's huge.
Scalia is a kind of insert.
Yeah, right. Huge.
In number 3, he says he would cancel all federal funding to sanctuary cities.
I 100% agree with that. The sanctuary cities like San Francisco will be the example that will be the first confrontation.
Okay.
They are, in my opinion, outrageously disrespectful to the laws of America. And they take pride in being defiant and refusing to follow laws.
Don't forget to include Los Angeles.
Oh, I do. But
both mayor and the chief of police made a statement clear,
I know.
like Crystal,
Right.
say we are not cooperating.
My prediction, which I hope is wrong, I believe that the Trump administration will, number one, cancel all funds flowing to these cities, of which there's a lot. And I predict there will be federal troops having to be placed in the cities to enforce the laws.
And my prediction would be there could be a huge lawsuit to the Donald Trump administration about blocking the federal fund resources, which comes from taxpayers, which
the taxpayers would vote.
LA taxpayers, San Francisco taxpayers, is their money.
Well, then they can get it out of the taxes they pay to California, because yes, I believe you. Yeah, I believe they can accomplish stopping the funds.
And I believe. Oh, of course, I do not say who is right, who is wrong, because still premature. One thing I can say is that they both are acting very strong.
And one in defense of the law, in enforcement of the laws of our country, and the other in defiance of the laws of the country. So they most be strong.
Not exactly.
Exactly true.
My reading is that for local police law enforcement, and for a mayor of a city as Los Angeles, they do have their own right
to defy laws.
To stand stand by their local laws.
No, that's not true. That's not
we
true. There is no local law that...
We do not cooperate. We are not obligated to cooperate.
You're wrong. There is no law, a local law, that supersedes
in LA,
national laws.
In LA, unlike Arizona, unlike Texas, if a cop stops somebody, and cop is not supposed to ask you about your immigration status. And you as a citizen, under no obligation to present your status.
I don't think that's 100% true or 100% false. So there's different practices.
Strong statements are made already, both by mayor and chief of police, that we will not cooperate.
And I detest them for that position.
Okay, well,
I do.
Let difference remain, okay? Let difference remain. I want to be a speculator for a little bit to see what happens.
I can't wait.
Okay,
I'm excited.
You say you can't wait.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to see, because it needs to be, because like San Francisco, which is the main thing, they're going, oh, we don't care, we don't have to do what you want us to do. That's just not right. They have such pride and defiance of our country. Now, in California, people in California want to secede. No problem.
Well, anyway,
it doesn't.
Don't forget, you're in California. You're in Los Angeles. You're talking about the City of Angels, all right? And they have their own likings, and sometimes they are strong, all right?
They're in the country.
Okay, my dear audience, with my good friend Ken Hamming, we sometimes find lots of agreement, and sometimes we disagree a lot. Anyway. And like I said, I may disagree with you, but I will fight for your right to speak up your own mind. And
That's
you
what we
do the
do.
same, vice versa. That is the beauty of democracy,
Right.
right? Good. Let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue digging into the bucket of this great man, Donald Trump, see what he has in there. We'll be right back, please. Hello, my dear friends, my dear audiences, lovely ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome back to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Battaglia, an internationally renowned brand name for men's suit, and also their golf series are resold. They're number ones, and they represent culture, tradition, lifestyle, and everything, even technology. So Paul, thank you for sponsoring. Let me get back to the show. The show being a discussion between me and my good friend Ken Hemming over the fact that Donald Trump, President-elect, had prepared himself with his 100-day plan. And in the bucket, we find something very interesting, something that me myself, in support very much, and something that I do not agree, something, yet there is something that sounds like a slogan to me.
Yes, sir.
And there is something very detailed that I like already.
Yeah.
On this one, he just happened to insert the replacement of Justice Scalia in between his two discussions of immigration reform, right? Okay, now we skipped it. We now come back to that. He says he will begin the process of selecting a replacement for Justice Scalia from one of the 20 justices on my list. My being Donald Trump.
Yes, sir. And he
who
published
will
that.
uphold and define the Constitution, defend Constitution of the United States.
See, what's happened, Jack, there's some justices on the court. The job of the Supreme Court is to judge upon activities in America as to whether they are in conformity with the spirit and the specific concepts of the Constitution and Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. And now we have some justices, because our far left is getting farther and farther left, in which many, as you can see now, ignore parts of the laws of America. And so the Supreme Court is to judge items as to whether they conform with the spirit and intent of the Constitution. Now, a couple judges are activist judges that are trying to reinterpret the Constitution from its original intent to meet their own pleasures and desires. And that's why it was so important as to who became president, because I believe Hillary Clinton would have had other activist jurists on the Supreme Court that would change the entire nature of our country. And if Trump selects one or two, because there'll probably be somebody else pass away in the next 4 years or 8 years, because they're older people, a lot of them, that he will pick people in the spirit of Scalia, in the spirit of the Constitution, to defend the original purpose of the Supreme Court's existence. And it's more important than any of these other issues, as it would form the future of our country.
I find myself 100%, if not 110%, in support of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And Ken, if you recall that you and I on many shows mentioned about my resentment. Of course, by the way, whatever I say here represents myself. Right. It is my Jack Chow's personal opinion, which does not represent this show, this organization, my crew, so on and so forth. No, totally me, myself, and I.
Yes, sir.
Something like that, right? Okay. My resentment was that if you look back for the past 8 years or so, you'll find our nation running naked towards the left and the left.
Picking up speed.
And extremely left.
Yeah.
And picking up speed.
Towards socialism, which is not our intent.
I don't want to use the term socialism because even socialism, you really have some bottom lines. For example, men supposed to use men's room. That's why it's called men's room.
Right, that's right.
And the ladies supposed to use ladies.
Right.
And that's why it's called ladies.
Right.
Right?
See,
and now when we have the third created, and the third being what? You know what? Like I remember sharing this with you. When the extreme left are going so far to left, though, they are using a technology or technique or tactics.
Yeah, tactics.
Tactics to create something that you dare not even say a word to go against it.
Right, and because they live for political correctness and I don't.
Yeah, political correctness.
I totally ignore that. I live for the truth.
For example, someday they create a law saying that everybody has the sixth finger.
Yes, right.
Should enjoy the same constitutional right as everybody that has five.
See, Obama's executive order was on bathrooms.
By logic, dare you say, no, I go against the law.
Yeah.
And then the next second, I will just put a hat on you. You are discriminating
you're right.
people with six fingers.
They use that so...
They use that everywhere.
Evilly, yeah.
So even people that go against it, feel totally against it, dare not say a thing for fear of being fingers pointed, saying that you are discriminating.
And as you know, I have no fear, and I think during this administration, there will be more open dialogue of people able to say what they think.
And now you're talking about not only the third, the fourth, the fifth bathroom.
Right.
And you're talking about same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
Right? Which is legalized already.
Right.
Already, all right? I have no problem. Like I said, 1 zillion times already.
Right.
1 zillion or trillion zillion times already.
Right.
That I have no problem. You fall in love with
who kisses who
or whatever.
Right.
Yet, if you want to get the same marriage certificate as I do, you are reducing the gold content of mine.
That's right. That's
exactly
right.
Dilute it.
Totally agree.
But now, okay, for that to change, my dear audience, our only chance is to wait to see the balance at the Supreme Court.
Right.
Now we have
Only hope.
Now we have 8.
4-4.
4 and 4. Okay. The fifth one, I mean the one in the middle, is very important. Should he or she tilt to the left?
Yeah.
Should he or she tilt to the right? That's the definition of where this country is heading.
100% accurate.
100%, right?
Beautiful statement.
And also, there is justice over 80. There is another one. 79.
Right. Yeah.
Right. At least you're talking about 3 more.
It's very possible. Very probable.
3 more approaching the retirement, even though there is no retirement.
Yeah, right.
We call quote unquote retirement years, right?
Yeah, and somebody could get sick or whatever.
So of course. So you're talking about the replacement of the already deceased Justice Great Man Scalia, and also you want to prepare yourself for the next 2 or 3.
Right. If Trump's in 8 years.
So that you make this country go on the healthy path.
Yes, sir.
Rather than the 6th bathroom.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
So it's really big. It's really the most important impact of this election. is the Supreme Court.
It is.
It defines our country. These others are different.
And well, lots of people do not see the importance about the one person on the seat of justice. That one person, not one person. That one person is the one that will probably break the balance.
Yeah.
That make the nation go to the right direction.
And if there's two and they're both in support of the Constitution, then we've got strength for
Ken,
years.
we're not done.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't look promising. We get even done like half of it. So let's schedule for the 5th.
Yes, sir.
Shall we, please?
I love talking about what we hope will happen in America.
We're over time already, so let's make number 5 here.
Yes,
okay?
sir. It'd be my honor.
Thank
I
you.
love you and your viewers. You know that.
My dear audience, today we're having a very, very good time. And I found out that the deeper we go, the clearer picture we see. We're not sure that Donald Trump would turn out a great president, but our only hope right now is him.
It's our hope. Yeah.
Right? We have no choice. If they say they are devils, they both are devils, and we're only trying to rely upon this one who has won. Right? Anyway, now let's keep our fingers crossed. And with you, my dear audiences, we try every bit we can to bring you the information. And to my audience, thank you very much for watching.
And thank
to
you.
Cam, thank you for sharing. So you're a
We
great
love you
man.
guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.